How's it going, guys? It's Nate here, and we all know that Skyrim is quite a large game. In fact, I repeat that statement in nearly every one of these videos. However, the game may be just a little bit deeper than you might have realized, and even after so many years, many of the game's references, allusions, and Easter eggs might have slipped by some of us. And so, it's with that in mind that we take a look at yet another 10 tiny details that you may still have missed in The Elder Scrolls V. Part 10. Starting off, Aemon Motierre is a Breton man you first meet in the Dark Brotherhood questline. He claims to be a member of the Imperial High Council, and gives you a contract to assassinate the Emperor himself. Motierre claims that the death of the Emperor will help him personally advance within the Imperial government, and become much more powerful. He promises a 20,000 septim reward if you're able to succeed. Eventually, you do finally kill the Emperor, and Aemon Motierre pays up, effectively ending the Dark Brotherhood storyline. However, you may be surprised to know that the Motierre family's ties with the Dark Brotherhood go back much further than the events of Skyrim. Back in the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, during the Dark Brotherhood quest, The Assassinated Man, you would be given a contract by a Breton commoner named Francois Motierre. I think that first name's pronounced Francois, spelled that way. He would request that you and the Brotherhood help him fake his own death, as he was already being targeted by a band of hired thugs for not paying back a loan he'd taken out. He figured that if the thugs thought he was dead, they'd have to leave him alone. Now, why Francois didn't just use the money he gave to the Brotherhood to instead pay off his outstanding debts, I don't know. But evidently the Motierres have quite the history scheming with this collection of assassins. Next, South Fringe Sanctum is a cave located southeast of Helgen. It's home to a small gang of bandits and their orcish leader, Bashnag. But it's not just evil warlords that inhabit this location. There's also a unique red fox named Pumpkin that can be found in a cage. Or sometimes outside of the cage. Outside of what's added in the Hearthfire DLC, Pumpkin is the only named fox in all of Skyrim, and is also a part of a reoccurring reference or Easter egg across various Bethesda games. Back in Fallout 3, there was a caged passive mole rat named Pumpkin, and in Oblivion there was a dog in Rockmill Haven, also named Pumpkin. In Skyrim, Pumpkin the Fox's role seems to be delegated to that of a pet to the bandits he lives with, and like his masters, he will even turn hostile to the player as soon as you're detected. That said, he does next to no damage at all, and that's if somehow he spawns outside of his cage. It's all quite adorable. Moving over to Whiterun for a third spot, living underneath the Honningbrew Meadery is a rogue Breton mage named Hamelyn, who you'll have to kill as a part of a quest for the Thieves Guild. What's unique about him, though, is that he lives with a small pack of skeevers, and as soon as he detects you, both he and his legion of giant rats will attack together. By all appearances, Hamelyn seems to have successfully won over the loyalty of his skeever companions, and in his tiny cave he keeps a journal that describes exactly what he's planning to do with them. He claims to have been exiled from the College of Winterhold, and somehow ended up in Whiterun, where he was arrested. Miraculously, he escaped the jail, and was able to find refuge in the small cave underneath Honningbrew Meadery, where he is now, or was, planning to use his magical abilities to build an army of skeevers, that he would then use to take revenge on those who he believed wronged him. Thankfully, you were able to stop this deranged man before he got too deep in his scheme. Now this whole escapade is a reference to the old folktale, The Pied Piper of Hamelyn. Hamelyn being a small town in Germany that was infested with rats. One day a man came down playing a magical pipe and lured the rats away. However, that's where the similarities between Skyrim and this old legend end, as eventually the piper in the story got mad at the townspeople because they wouldn't pay him, and he came back with his pipe and lured their children away too. So perhaps Bethesda's version of events may have been a bit tamer. Fourth on our list is a bit of a quick one. After you've killed a dragon, its flesh will begin to disintegrate into a ball of bright flames, and you'll absorb its soul. Well, you can actually see this process happening on your world map. It's best visible at night, and I've personally disabled map markers to make it easier to see on screen. But next time you've defeated one of these mythical creatures, be sure to stop and check it out. It's pretty cool. Halfway there at number 5, the Soul Cairn is a plane of oblivion, and it's where many of the souls that have been soul trapped ultimately end up. Well, you can interact with many of the trapped souls, and some of them will say this rather rare line of dialogue.
Death is but a door, time is but a window. I'll be back.
Such is a reference to what the main villain of Ghostbusters 2 said just before he effectively died. I'd play a clip of it all happening on screen, but I would rather not get a copyright strike. Next, Skyrim's southern border is largely defined by a series of mountains and invisible walls, meant to contain the player. However, outside of the playable area lies a small Easter egg. If you use console commands to bypass the game's invisible barriers and continue heading south, you'll soon see the white gold tower of the Imperial City in the province of Cyrodiil, an iconic piece of scenery from the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Location-wise, it's right about where it should be, and the terrain around it even roughly mimics that of Cyrodiil from what we've seen in the Elder Scrolls IV. Now the tower will just sort of float there, as the rest of the Imperial City will not render in. Furthermore, the tower's textures are quite low quality. Regardless, it's pretty amazing that someone at Bethesda went through the extra effort just to put all of this here for the more exploration-minded players. Coming in at number 7, Skyrim's various vendors and merchants will often have a few of their items on display. Now, I haven't noticed this until very recently, and perhaps more of you have and I'm just bad at paying attention to detail. But these items will actually disappear and be added to your inventory according to what you buy at their vendors. Meaning, if there's a piece of Horker meat on display, and you proceed to buy Horker meat from the store, that piece of Horker meat will then disappear and be given to you. This creates the sort of illusion that you're purchasing items right off the shelf, and I really like it. 8th, in the Elder Scrolls 3's Bloodmoon expansion that takes you to Solstheim, you'll learn the story about a wizard named Grimkill, who is on a journey with 3 Nord warriors to find Sovngarde, Erlander, Hunrun, and Nikolas. Well, the wizard ended up betraying his companions and turning them into stone pillars at a location called Brodier Grove. Now, in Skyrim as a part of the Dragonborn DLC, you can in fact visit Brodier Grove again. But that's not what I found so interesting. In the main questline when you visit Sovngarde, you can actually find these 3 warriors, Nikolas, Hunrun, and Erlander, amongst their fellow Nordic heroes. They won't say much besides the generic dialogue given, but it appears they finally made it to their destination, after all. Headed back over to the mainland, Vulthuryol is a dragon that you can encounter in the ancient dwarven ruins of Blackreach. Now, his existence is a bit of an Easter egg in and of itself, as the only way to meet him is by using your Fusro Dashau on the ball of light that hangs in the center of the city. But what you may not have known is that his entire existence seems to be a clever allusion to Smaug from the J.R.R. Tolkien book, The Hobbit. Vulthuryol's name translates roughly to Dark Overlord Fire in dragon language. Both dragons are largely similar in color patterns, and both lived in dwarven cities until being awoken by outsiders. The similarities are quite clear, and Bethesda's obviously been quite inspired by The Lord of the Rings, as evidenced by other Easter eggs. Now the only question is, how did Vulthuryol get down here in the first place? And finally, last on our list, Alduin's Wall is a large prophetic mural you can find in Skyhaven Temple. It was built by the Ancient Blades, and in the main questline, Esbern looks at it to determine it tells the story of Alduin's return, and prophesizes that only someone keen in the way of the voice has the power to stop him. However, should you decide to look at the mural for yourself, you'll find that it foreshadowed quite a bit more than just Alduin. Engraved in Alduin's Wall are multiple references to the events of past Elder Scrolls games. You can find depictions of the Staff of Chaos, a powerful relic that was central to the Elder Scrolls arena. There's another image foreshadowing the Numidium and the Warp of the West from Daggerfall. Morrowind's Disaster of the Red Mountain is also included, and there's even an engraving of an Oblivion Gate opening over Cyrodiil, as seen in the Elder Scrolls 4. The game doesn't really do much to highlight these tiny allusions, and leaves them for the player to discover for themselves. But it's a touch that I greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that, we're going to wrap up. If you enjoyed the video, like ratings are as always very much appreciated. And what tiny details have you come across that you really appreciated seeing for yourself? Leave a comment down below. Also, I have opened up a Discord server as per request, so if you're interested in communicating with me or other like-minded people, feel free to join that. Link will be included in the description and in a pinned comment. Anyway, thanks for stopping by everybody, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out everyone.